I'm so deeply excited to introduce our um, next presenter. She has been integral to my healing journey and my embrace of my emotional experience in this world as an educator and a community member, human being. Shirley Johnson has also been really integral to our project's work around educator healing and self-attunement, and has supported us in many iterations of offering self-attuning to our emotional activation, the opportunity to explore our emotional landscape and really deem that as valuable work as educators, as those holding space for others. And so with that, I hand it over to Shirley Johnson for the next half hour to guide us through a practice of self-attuning to our emotional landscape and experience. So, welcome.
I want to do a quick sound check. Can you all hear me? Okay. Okay, great. Well, thank you all for being here. Thanks, Oriana, for that beautiful welcome. And I was fortunate enough that I got to listen to Alex's keynote, and my presentation today is called Radical Rest to Reconnect. And some of the things I heard Alex say, that I was like, wow, how it's feels like a nice weaving into this time together. I heard Alex speak of dreaming and making space to dream. And I'm thinking of how important rest can be to being able to dream. And I also heard, I think someone reflected exhaustion, the exhaustion that comes from denying our experiences sometimes as educators or youth workers. And so today we are going to drop into a little bit about rest, which I will talk a little bit about and invite you all to share in the chat some reflections. And then we'll go into a practice period of what's called Yoga Nidra. And Nidra in Sanskrit is translated into the English as sacred rest. Yoga Nidra is a technology for grounding and being able to tap into that sweet resting space that is not sleep. And I find that it'll be an offering for you to see how it lands and see if it's something that might support you. So as I mentioned, my body is a vessel, radical rest to reconnect. Oriana already went over the orientation guidelines, but I just want to reiterate, please take care of yourselves. This is experiential. I would love, as also Alex invited, if folks are willing to share in the chat or name their experiences as they come up, ask questions. All of us are wisdom keepers and wanting to break up any dynamic of I'm the person who's Zoom spotlit, so I'm the teacher. We're all teachers, literally and figuratively. A little bit about me, but you can read about that at a different time. But I'm a licensed therapist, yoga teacher, and have been studying various healing forms for the last 15 years of my life. If you maybe can share, what are your intentions for our time together today? And mine, as I was mentioning, are to co-create a space for exploring rest and our relationship to rest, celebrate the ways we are already using rest to support our presence and professional roles, and to create an experiential practice of slowing down through gentle movement and visualization. As I mentioned, we'll be practicing Yoga Nidra. So first, I want to maybe just talk about rest, and I want to invoke the wonderful work of Trisha Hersey and the NAP Ministry as bringing conversations about rest into a really focal point in our current landscape. And I'll refer to some quotes from her. So, rest is not a privilege, it is not a luxury. Rest is a human right, and it is a divine right. And this idea of radical rest, what I'm invoking is the possibility of the word radical, meaning favoring fundamental change or change at the root of the cause of the matter. So going all the way down into the roots And rest, a cease of work or movement in order to relax, refresh oneself, or recover strength. And I would also add into that part of what rest is as well is potentially loosening our grip on a desired outcome. That sometimes rest supports us in letting go of something we're gripping really strongly to and allowing the thing to, as also as Alex was invoking, this idea that there could be multiple truths at one time, at the same time, so that there can be ways that we can both rest, that as we rest, things can still be in progress, and that it is always not dependent on us being in constant state of efforting, specific efforting and laboring in order for the things that we are desiring, the goals that we are pushing, the dreams we have to happen. So I want to direct us to the screen and invite and thank you all for sharing your intentions and getting a chance to read through them now as I navigate screens. So I want to invite us to do a short writing prompt, and you can do it right into the chat if you are open to that, or send any bullet points into the chat. And the prompt here is, what have I learned about rest? Who did I see rest while I was growing up? Who was allowed to rest? What did I learn from my parents, family, friends, and community about rest? You don't have to speak to all of those prompts, but I want to invite you to reflect on any parts of those prompts and share them in the chat. So as I mentioned, this is the part where we're just getting a chance to slowly massage our awareness about our relationship to rest, what rest means to ourselves. And when I was thinking about this idea of radical rest and attunement, and the word attunement meaning to bring some harmony into to an idea. It's to potentially bring awareness and make aware of something. And part of what my goal and hope is today is that as we bring awareness to radical rest, we get to start to see how rest, radical rest, is a way of attuning emotionally, both to ourselves and to others. And as Alex had mentioned earlier as well, a big part of this is the practice of slowing down. And sometimes the slowing down helps us to be aware of what is actually going on for ourselves, and therefore then giving us space to, just from awareness, things start to change. Thank you for starting us off. Rest equals laziness, especially for Indian women who were allowed to rest, were the men. Not valued emotional and physical labor of the women, homemakers, caregivers, nurturers. So a lot of unlearning and reconnecting with rest through the guilt. Thank you for that. I can totally relate to that, even as someone who's coming from a different ethnic background. Similarly, rest and laziness were very linked in my background as well. And I appreciate the vulnerability. And can anyone else resonate with me? My mother rested by knitting. My father's side didn't rest, always moving around, it seemed. I'm learning to really rest at 62. I'm a slow learner. Thank you. I think rest is a practice, and rest is something that we get to, it's an ongoing practice, meaning it's an ongoing learning. It's dynamic. So I applaud all of us, and I'll keep referring back to the slides shortly. One of the things I want to share, and I like what someone just wrote, was about their mother rested by knitting. And so one of the things I want to also be clear about is when I'm talking about rest, rest is not limited to sleep. And this is something I've thought about. And obviously all of this is my thoughts and opinions, so you take it all with a grain of salt. It's not the truth, but hopefully it's something that supports you all in jumping into some of your own reflections, questions, and deeply and nourishing of yourselves to rest and be attuned to yourselves and others. Rest is a lifestyle. Rest is a practice of embodiment. Rest is deep listening to our most inner self. Rest is a practice of obedience to what we hear from our embodiment and inner self. Rest restores and rejuvenates. Rest is how we charge our inner battery to power through living our purpose. And, I think about the times we're living in now, and I am, for myself at least, I have to do a lot of charging of my inner battery to live my purpose and to keep living in a way that is going to serve people in integrity with what I am here to do. And it requires rest, and that rest may not always be sleep. It may just be, the other day I found myself being like, wow, all my clients had canceled in the morning. And I just sat at my table and drank a cup of tea. And that's all I did. I just drank my tea. It took 5, 10 minutes, it wasn't too long, but it was no cell phone, no computer, no multitasking, just drinking tea. And that for me was a way to charge my inner battery. So um, I uplift this, meaning that I also agree, Karen, it is an ongoing practice, and we will learn, hopefully, or be inspired to think about different ways we each can rest. Um, I'll skip this next one, so I'm not going to watch that. I just want to say one other thing, and then we're going to go into our practice. So there has been studies and conversations that are coming out of various different camps, but about different types of rest. And so these are a few different types of rest we might be thinking about for ourselves, and you can reflect in the chat of which one maybe you're aware of feels most resonant for what you're needing these days. As you can see, there's some descriptions of each: mental rest, giving the mind a break; sensory rest, a break from the screens, TVs, phones, external stimulation. I think I always think that. Creative rest, being able to find ways to reconnect to our inner child, our imagination, right? To dream. Emotional rest, sometimes we need to take a rest from being there for others all the time. um, Not picking up the phone, etc. Social rest, maybe some time by ourselves, time in nature, time journaling, some inner reflection that is not moving outward. Spiritual rest, the desire to have a deep sense of purpose and connected to something bigger, and finding the ways to make that connection. And physical rest, sleep. So these are just a few different um, areas of rest that probably any of us at any given time can connect to. And I'm gonna invite us, we can actually take the screen down. We can take the screen off now, thank you, because we're gonna move into an experiential process. And so you're welcome to share any reflections insofar of what it's like so far to even just be talking about, thinking about rest this morning or afternoon, depending on where you are. And I'm going to just reflect a few of the things I'm seeing in the chat. Rest. I like the idea of there being different types of rest. Yeah, I find that that's helpful too. And when people are like, just go to sleep, sometimes sleep is what we need. And also, one thing I want to say, I was thinking about, I didn't say it yet. This conversation about rest, my hope is that it doesn't create more self-judgment on ourselves. I want to name, I'm sure every single one of us here is doing the absolute best that we can do. And the truth is, probably for some of us, we get overextended, we get burnt out, we get tired, etc. And sometimes we don't always rest right away, or we don't even think about rest. And so this is just a conversation to plant seeds of awareness. This is not a time, I'm hoping, I want to hold the intention also of not a time to judge ourselves, but just a time to be gentle with ourselves, because I think that sometimes rest is also being gentle with ourselves in a world where many of us have learned to be very harsh and drill sergeant with ourselves. It's a little scary. I have a hard time slowing down and being still. Great awareness, right? And that doesn't mean you need to slow down all the way and change that in a 180-degree way, but perhaps it's an invitation for curiosity about what is it about slowing down that maybe one has learned um, is scary or potentially brings up anxiety. So that being said, and thank you all for these beautiful responses you're putting in the chat. I want to read them all, but I also want to honor time and already seeing time fly. So we're going to move into our yoga nidra practice, which I want to invite you all, if you'd like to change. The first thing I want to invite you to do is get comfortable. So some of you are sitting up at your screen. You can stay seated. You can also lie down if you're at a couch or If your floor permits for that, if you want to take your cameras off, that's totally fine. So the first thing is we're going to get comfortable. Yoga Nidra practice requires no movement on your behalf. So uh, adjusting and placing your body in a way that will allow you to find some sense of rest or relaxation is what I'd like to invite you to do then. So you might need to adjust your pillows or adjust your seat or put your feet on something. And we'll get started in a moment. If it's comfortable for you, I will invite you to close your eyes. You can also keep them open. My invitation is of keeping them open. You are um, looking at something that's not moving. So you might find something at your desk and maybe keep the eyes low, focusing, or you might, if you're lying down or on the ground, you might find something on the ceiling. I'm giving you a very quick intro into Yoga Nidra, into this technology that has an expansive amount of both research, experience, and ancient history, being rooted in South Asia, um, as a way to support with, right, this thing that I think humanity has been dancing with for generations, apparently, about how to rest and really also how to rest the connection between our mind and our body. So part of the beauty of this technology is it works both on the physical level. You might find your physical body relaxed, but also on the mental level. So once you're in that place where you are feeling relaxed, your eyes are closed or focused somewhere that's not moving, I want to invite us all to take a deep breath in together. Let's all just take a breath into our nose. And if you're comfortable, you can let the breath come out of your mouth, otherwise through your nose. I'm going to guide you through this practice, but you don't have to listen to everything I say. It's perfectly fine if you drift off sometimes so that my voice just becomes hopefully a safe sound in the background. Toward the end of this practice, I will invite you to visualize into a place, into a physical place, perhaps in nature. But if any other images or sensations come up, please feel free to ignore my suggestions and have your own experience, as this is part of emotionally attuning back to the self, honoring your experience, bringing awareness to what your experience is, and harmonizing with that experience. So now I will invite you to bring your full awareness into your breath, inhaling through the nose. Allow the belly to expand, whether you're seated or laying down, and exhale through the mouth with a sigh and relax the whole body. Again, inhale through the nose, creating space. Exhale, soften the body. Take that breath with awareness of relaxing the body on the exhale 2 more times. I'll count through it, but feel free to move at a different pace than me. Inhaling deeply, exhaling, relaxing your body. Inhaling deeply, exhale, relaxing your body. You can stay with that breath or just allow the breath to come back to natural. We'll start to move into a body scan. When I mention the body part, bring your awareness there. And if you'd like, you can imagine filling each part of the body with a golden, warm, nurturing light or an affirmation of your choice. Starting with the top of your head, the forehead, right eye, left eye, both eyes together, the nose, the mouth, relaxing your tongue, the left cheek, right cheek, both cheeks together, your right ear, left ear, both ears together, back of the head, the neck, the throat. Now focusing on the right side of the body, right shoulder, right upper arm, right forearm, palm of the right hand, the whole right arm, right armpit and the outside of the ribs, right side of your chest, right side of the belly, right hip, right thigh, right knee, right calf, sole of the right foot, the whole right leg, whole right side of your body. You can bring awareness to notice if there's any sensation just as we scan through the right side. Now please bring your attention to the left side of your body. Left shoulder, left upper arm, left forearm, palm of the left hand, the whole left arm, the left armpit, the left side of the chest, left side of the belly, the left hip, left thigh, left knee, left lower leg, left foot, the whole left leg. Pause for a moment, notice the left side and any sensations. And scanning, bringing awareness to the whole body, the whole body. Now letting your awareness rest at the soles of the feet for a moment. Just observe how it feels. If there's no sensation at all, that's also an observation. As you breathe in, imagine drawing the breath up through the soles of the feet, along your legs, hips, upper body, all the way to your shoulders. And as you exhale, imagine the breath moving down from the shoulders, through the ribs, back to the soles of the feet. Again, inhale from the soles of your feet up to your shoulders. Exhale from the shoulders to the soles of the feet. And taking 2 more breaths like that. And now imagine yourself walking through a beautiful meadow in your favorite season. Notice if you see flowers, the colors of the flowers you might see. Perhaps you offer yourself to, as you walk through this meadow, smell them. Explore any other plants or objects that you find in this beautiful meadow. And giving yourself permission to explore this sacred place. Notice if there's trees, what do the trees look like? If there's sunlight shining, where and how is the sun shining through? What time of the day might it be? And notice any sounds you hear. It's the sound of birds, or the sound of the river, the sound of the wind moving, the sound of the trees being blown. And allowing yourself to explore this landscape in your mind. feeling deeply into the senses. And as you walk through this landscape, finding a place to sit down in your mind's eye and enjoy the tranquility, enjoy the sensations that are being activated, and breathe. Noticing how your body feels, noticing how your mind is. We'll invite ourselves to give gratitude to the space that we've entered as we start to transition from it, knowing that you can come back here at any time. Begin to return back into this time and space. Taking a deep breath in once again through the nose, a deep breath out through the mouth. Perhaps bringing once again the breath in through the soles of your feet up to the shoulders. Exhaling from the shoulders back down the body to the soles of the feet. Keeping the eyes closed if they're closed or focused. And starting to bring awareness to the sounds around you. Start to bring awareness to your body. Bringing awareness to the rhythm of your breath. And now please begin to gently move your hands and feet. Maybe you want to take a little stretch if you're been sitting still or lying down. You might stretch your arms up as you inhale, stretch up to the sky, or you might take a little twist in your chair just to move the spine from side to side. Do whatever feels good for you. If you're laying down, you may draw your knees into your chest or circle your ankles in one direction, circle in the other direction. And taking your time, we'll all meet back in whatever comfortable posture you'd like. You can also stay here. I won't tell you you have to leave, but we will complete our practice. There is a saying in one of the yoga communities that I've studied in and been a part of for many years, which is that teaching is being. And I offer that because I want to invite you to share into the chat, if you're up for it, just how you feel. How does your being feel right now? And I want to offer that there's a way that we teach, whether it's in a very literal sense of being an educator, or we teach in the way of we are a community member holding space, or we teach because we are human and we are all reflections of one another. Perhaps that there is a way that by resting and slowing down and having a being that is attuned to our own inner landscape, that is actually potentially a potent place to lead, teach, organize from, and how that impact of coming from that being can support others in finding that being in themselves and finding the possibility of what happens when we connect from that being space and the imagination that can get drummed up from there. Thank you all for sharing. And folks made me feeling calm, relaxed, grateful, feeling good and grateful. Didn't realize how much I needed some time to rest. Relaxed, beautiful. My hope is that this can support you all in coming back to or just thinking about having a short amount of time to be able to attune to yourself and noticing, it sounds like, some of the potent ways you get to get that quick feedback of how you feel and how you might lead, teach, support, and serve from that space. Thank you all. Thank you, Oriana, the beautiful SCRR team, Nikki, Leora, and all of those who've been here. Thank you.